I'm here at Central Library. When I'm not your CSS behind circulation, I can be found in the gyms as an aquatic fitness or yoga instructor. Today we're going to do a very brief and gentle yoga class for about 20 minutes. If you don't have traditional props like blocks, you're welcome to improvise, whether it is from your laundry room or your pantry, or maybe you've decided, no, I'm good just the way I am. So if you're running to get something real quick, that's okay. The rest of us are going to just kind of anchor our feet here. And we're going to draw little circles with our hips. And let's take that circle in the opposite direction. Now I know it's kind of quick and some of our friends are ready to get started in our practice. So let's begin by just placing your feet where it feels really good and really comfortable today. For the next couple of minutes, it's just about you, okay? So we're just going to take a big collective breath in and let things go. You know what? That felt really good. Let's go ahead and do that again. So we're going to take a deep breath in, filling the lungs up, maybe breathing through our nose and just letting things root and anchor. Let's press into the heels. Let's just reach out long and up towards the sky with our fingertips. Let's see if we can spread your toes and reach over towards one side, not judging how far it goes. It's just, can we get that juicy stretch in your side? Let's breathe in as we lift upwards. And let's try the other side. Let's inhale as we lift upwards. Now we're going to move towards the ground, but before we do, let's bring those hands into our heart center. Just remember, you got this. I believe in you. Let's draw those fingertips up to the sky. Let's push the hips back as you bend your knees. We're going to bring the fingertips maybe all the way to the ground. Remember, you have props close by if you need to put them on something. Now, we're going to come up halfway. So nice long arms, maybe fingertips on shins as we lengthen the arms, pushing the head forward, lifting the tailbone up. So you press your feet into the ground. What we're looking to do is to feel length in your hamstrings, the back of your legs. Let's breathe out, and we're going to come into that little bend again. So we're going to draw the hands out and up again to the sky, pushing into the toes. And we're going to move back into that forward-facing fold, letting the breath out completely, just feeling the belly push against the thighs. We can hold on to our elbows. We can hold behind our legs. I'm going to resist the urge to look up. You'll notice because no two skeletons are the same, no two bodies are the same. You might be able to touch the ground. Many of us can't, and that's okay. So we're going to take your fingertips to the floor, and we're going to step that left foot back. Now, if you needed to hold on to something, if we're a little stiff, that might be a little bit of a journey. And again, we can bring things alongside of us to make things easier. Whatever we choose to do, we just want to feel that connection of the heel into the mat, into the floor. Allow the breath to come in as deeply as we can. And also we want to feel this opening in this front muscle, your psoas. That tends to get really tight, especially if we tend to hold ourselves for long periods of time. Your next breath out, let's walk your fingertips over to the left side. You're going to turn your whole body. We're going to become like a ninja or spider person on our mat. Just bending one knee, walking your hands over to the side, turning your toes towards that side. Maybe you can see how my hips are dropped back. And I'm going to just push into the pinky toes. You'll observe a little different sensation in the legs. I'm going to walk the hands over to the other side. And again, we might need to have our little friends over here. If you have a furry friend or a person walking around, they can always help you or assist you. We're going to walk the hands centrally, and we might feel really, really good here. We may have said, oh wow, my arms just need to have a little length. Or maybe you're saying to yourself, wow, let me just stretch out those hamstrings, my lower back, and I'm going to walk my hands forward. And again, it has to feel good for you. My skeleton's different than yours. Now, as I push my hips back, just a little tidbit. We need to breathe here. Did you remember to take a deep breath in? Let your breath go. One more breath. Let's bend those knees. That tends to be easier on your back. We're going to walk those hands back forward. We're going to walk the hands to the front of our room or our mats. And let's see how the hips feel, how your shoulders feel. Do we want to stay here? Do we want to take that back knee down to the ground? For today's purposes on this side, I'm going to bring my knee down. I may have put a cushion underneath. I'm going to take the hand to the floor. I'm going to take this hand onto my thigh. The goal is to add rotation. We're going to open up that psoas again, and you might feel something along the side of the body with your IT band. I'm going to turn my chest towards the side, drawing the shoulder back. Are we holding our breath? Remember to take a deep breath here. It's going to be okay. We're going to take our eye gaze to the floor. Let your breath out. Try to smile. We're going to tuck the toes. And this is where it gets fun. We're going to move forward. Before we move forward, let's push into the heels so that we feel that connection. Let your toes spread. It doesn't have to be pretty. I can't see you. We're going to move forward. How did we do? It's okay to be giggling. Let's come up halfway. Remember, the goal is to lengthen the spine, the backs of your legs. Then we're going to push the breath out as we move into that fold. Let's extend those arms up to the sky. Just take a deep breath in. Picture the sunshine beaming on your face. Little change, my friends. We're just going to open up the body. I'm going to interlace my hands and bring my hands behind me to bring my elbows back. Lifting up through the heart, you can stretch your hands out and just spread your positive energy from one end of the room to the other. Let's push the hips back, reaching the hands where it feels best for you as we come down to the ground. We're going to take the right foot and we're going to step it back, moving into that lunge. And again, add your props if we need them to bring the ground higher for those of us that don't. And mobility is always different, especially if we add candles onto the cake. Let's bring the hands over to the right side. And when we bend from one side to the other side, I'm going to turn myself so that you can see what it looks like. Since you know that the hips should be pressing back, you might not quite know what's going on. Let the kneecap relax, just in case your quadricep is tightened. And let's bring things over to this side. Let's try nice big breaths, see where that affects us. Instead of coming centrally and walking our hands out, we're coming centrally and we're going to add rotation with our toes facing the side. If you moved yourself around, that's okay. If you need to place something underneath our hands, I'm going to bring this can underneath my hand. Please make sure it's stable. I'm going to spread the hand. I'm going to take this hand into the small of the back. It doesn't matter which side we start with. What we're going to do is we're going to push the hips back. I'm going to pull the shoulders away from the ears. Let's just observe how the breath feels, seeing if we can breathe in through the nose. Breathing out, pressing into our edges of our feet. And then turning towards the side. The goal is to only rotate where it feels comfortable. So if we have things going on with our spine, with our jaws, We might not be going super deep. I know some folks are going to extend their hands to the sky. I'm here with my friends that would like to stay here for a moment. So we're going to let the fingertips come down to the ground. Let's take a deep breath in and let things go. So you can place the prop underneath your hand or anchor the hand underneath the nose or underneath your shoulder. Other hand's going to come to the small of the back. Let's draw those shoulders away from the ears. Observe how this feels in our jaw and our face, the muscles around our eyes. Let's push into our feet so that we feel grounded and just take that energy up into the legs. Using the next breath in to add that rotation as we press into the ground, staying rooted and grounded. Breathing, maybe smiling if you found yourself holding your breath. Letting our hands return to the earth. So we're going to move the fingertips towards the front of the mat. We're going to step the right foot back, moving into that lunge. So we're going to add rotation before we bring ourselves down to the ground, letting the right hand come to the floor, taking that left hand onto the thigh, adding that rotation. Release the breath, release our hold, letting things come to the floor. So we're going to move back onto all fours, letting the knees come down to the ground. Just for a moment, let's move into child's pose. Letting the hands spread as we come here, rocking back in the hips. I see a lot of different things throughout my classes. So some might just choose to press back very high. We might have something underneath our thighs. We might have something underneath our knees. Some skeletons are going to allow us to come here. Wherever we come, it needs to feel safe. Others are going to bring their knees out wide just so that we can come into this little space for a moment. So when we come and return towards all fours, gently lifting ourselves up, letting your fingers spread. If you've ever seen a cat, when it walks onto something cushy, they tend to spread their hand or their paws, letting their body kind of work its way slowly. And we're going to work our way slowly into that all four states. That crawling state is really good for your brain, really good for our breath. And we're going to connect with the breath, mimicking your cats as you press into all 10 fingers. You're going to round the spine. You're going to let the tailbone drop, and you're going to take your eye gaze to the floor. Then you're going to take your eye gaze up. We're going to draw the heart forward, rolling the shoulders back as we move into cow, breathing in. We'll do that 2 more times, letting the breath out really deeply as you move into your cat, feeling that connection through the fingers. And allowing the heart to come forward, remembering to relax the muscles around our eyes, just taking a moment to enjoy the sensation. As we move into our cats, just observe how this feels, where we feel strong, where we feel connected. And when you breathe in, observe how this sensation moves throughout our body. So when we move towards neutrality, just staying into all fours, drawing your shoulders away from the ears. So we're going to just gently bring one leg out. Doesn't matter which one. We're not here to judge. And again, it might choose to stay here. Some of us are going to lift that foot up. I know some yogis just went into a spinal balance. For today's purposes, you're welcome to go there. But we're here to actually just kind of open up the hips. So we're going to draw a little circle going in one direction. And then we'll take those circles in the other direction. Let's place that knee down to the ground. And we're going to push the hips back, maybe walking the hands here How do your arms feel? Yeah, mine too. Let's just take a deep breath in. Bring those shoulders up to the ears and let things go. So we are going to try the other side, letting your hands walk out. And again, this is wonderful for our brains, for our nerves. If you need a cat and calf, you need to rock from one side to the other side. Draw yourself central. Neutralize the spine. I'm going to take the foot that you hadn't taken out, just drawing it out onto the side. And again, that might be all she wrote for you, and that's all good. You bend the knee. It's okay to wobble. Maybe taking those circles in one direction. And moving your circles in the other direction. Little secret is hip health is essential to mobility. I'm going to let those knees come down. So it's okay if it feels a little uncomfortable. Sharpshooting pain, no. Let's bring things here. So are we ready to come seated? So let's come on to our glutes. Let's take your left foot forward for a moment. I'm going to take one ear to one shoulder. Now let's take the fingertips up to the sky. Little stretch. Inhale and open. Before we bring things slightly forward, it's just like you're looking over a dock, peering in the water. We're going to leave our boats off of our practice and walk those hands back, letting the feet come nice and wide. Just going to windshield wiper your knees from one side to the other side. Remember to breathe. We want to feel a sensation in the side of the hips, letting the knees come up. And we can do this in our chairs, whether you're home or in the office, the doctor's office. Let's bring those knees up. We're going to crisscross the legs to the opposite side. Maybe take a deep breath. Let things go. Let's take the opposite ear to the opposite shoulder. Or at least I hope it's the opposite shoulder. Inhale and extend. Maybe walking the fingertips out. And again, it's just feeling from the right side all the way to the fingertips, no matter how big or small. As long as you feel something, that's the goal. So we're going to come into our final pose, just lifting ourselves up and letting your feet kind of come together, coming into what we used to call butterfly pose. Your butterfly does not have to fly. Sometimes your butterfly comes and it lands on its place and it just opens and spreads its wings, drawing the breath in and just letting the breath out. This place is a place that we always carve out for ourselves, without judgment, without expectations. One more breath. Namaste. Thank you for joining me today.